on Facebook. Welcome, everybody. I'm Love Coach Scott Thomas, and this is Straight Talk. And boy, it's not just me and Trish this time. We've got an incredible, all-star, amazing collection of wonderful souls. And this is really kicking off an extraordinary 10-day event called the Whole Person Convergence, put together by Sadiq and his amazing team. And
Yay.
You are looking at stewards of the realm. Stewards of the realms. And to tell us a little bit more about it, first of all, I'm going to briefly spotlight my teaching partner, Trish.
Good evening. Happy Friday night. You are in for a really amazing show and a really amazing week with the Whole Person Convergence, the whole human convergence. And I'm really been really grateful for Sadiq and how he's really showing up and showing his juicy big heart to me. Thank you. I'm really excited to hear. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, so starting tonight, we had a pre-show yesterday, so we are sort of weaving in the 12+1, which is in so many different sacred traditions. But starting tonight, we had our opening ceremony just 3 hours ago. We are taking a journey through the 12 realms, or the 12 sectors of society, as Barbara Marx Hubbard had spelled out. So for the next 12 days, starting today, we are going on a sacred pilgrimage, and we are going to have 85 luminaries from all over the world, 7 times 12 plus 1, 7. So if you put that, the math would be 6 representatives, 1 steward per realm in all 12 of the sectors, each representing some aspect of the different realms of society, because the game that we're playing is, how do we create a global culture of peace? And in order to create a global culture of peace, we need to understand all the pieces within all the different realms, how they work together, what parts aren't speaking to each other and why, and then how do we bring those parts together in a way that allows for wholeness and completion. And so we're going to be mapping that out over the course of the next 12 days. And tonight we have most of our stewards of the realms here, arts and culture, infrastructure and resources, environment, learning and education, so forth and so on. And it's going to be a magical journey. So I'll sort of stop with that, so we can kind of maybe get some flavor from some of the other folks in the room. Yeah.
Okay, and Sadiq, just explain briefly about what the 12 realms are, and that way each person is to describe their realm. They can go into greater detail, but what's the vision, as you told me last night, about the 12 realms, that, you know, and how they interact with each other?
Yeah, so they're in different systems, they're all different. So if you think about, like, within astrology, for example, you have the 12 houses, or in a lot of different religious traditions, you have the 12 tribes. You have basically the ways in which society breaks itself up. That's sort of the archetypical concept. And so one of a modern time prophet, if you will, like Barbara Marx Hubbard, put together a system called the Wheel of Co-Creation. And we've drawn from her system and many other systems in putting together a wheel for this event. Those 12 are relations and peace building. So not only between nations, but between each other and ourselves. So all the people in the world that work on that: science and technology, spirituality and religion, environment, specifically as it relates to food, water, and energy, economics and business, governance and sovereignty, like how do we organize ourselves as a species, arts and culture, justice and protection, learning and education, infrastructure and resources, so the cities that we build, the solar panels, so forth and so on, communications and media, and then the last is health and wellness.
Wow. Well, I'm going to go to the people that I know the best, which are John and Summer, and I'm going to ask them to share with us a little bit about what realm they're involved in and what that means to the two of you.
Yeah, we are hosting the realm of peace and relations.
And I just want to say I'm kind of along for the ride tonight. I'm grateful to be here, but John definitely is the representative with Sadiq's event, and I'm a part of that.
Well, but you are my relations.
Yes.
Of course, everything I know about relations is worked out. The most important relationship in my life right now, for sure. But peace and relations, and it's a global culture of peace as the goal. What a beautiful topic to be focused on, because if just everybody respected everybody's rights, we'd go a long way towards peace. And I heard that today at a fire that was lit, we'll talk about later, because the idea of relations, and Sadiq, I'm so happy that you're doing this. I'm so happy that we're figuring out how to do all this together, because that's the part of the relations and peace. How do we build those healthy relationships that care for each other? How can we be together even when we're all apart? Because we can't be at everybody's thing. There's so many things happening today. So anyway, I'm really excited about this realm. It's very personal, but also it's totally global.
And I'll just speak to it as well, that of just the little bits that I am aware of Sadiq and the way he looks at things. And I appreciate the patterning of the sacred geometry and the numbers, and Barbara Marx Hubbard, and she's so woven in so much of around the sign network, and so many people that are drawn to synergy and collaboration and making bridges and being a part of these prophecies that are unfolding with the indigenous people, and in a respectful way. So I think that's everything to me. So I'm grateful to be here in the realm of peace and relations.
Beautiful. You know, I'm just going to mention for a moment that we're all kind of in the awareness that this planet is going through an incredible change. Obviously, I think we all know that. But there's a lot of prediction about December 21st. And from an astrological standpoint, there's an incredible conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn happening right at the same time as our winter solstice. And so my understanding, and I'll add you for a moment here, Sadiq, is one of the reasons that you put all this together in this timing is to kind of like this is a 10-day culmination, bringing us to this amazing event from an astrological standpoint and an energetic standpoint. So is there anything you want to say about that? And John, I have a feeling you might know a little bit about that, and then we'll meet our other keepers of the realms.
Yeah, I think a lot's going on many different levels. I think, you know, speaking to some of the work that has been going on in partnership with Earthwalk and John and Summer, with the Enlightening Our Way, they too started an event this evening that's going for 11 days. And so we've been flying side by side, Eagle, Condor, Energy, and Dragon in there as well. And there's a lot of different groups out there that are honoring this rites of passage, as I would call it. And a lot of the lineages are talking about, you know, this as being that time of prophecy that a lot of different lineages, if you go through a lot of the different texts, are talking about. And so even just from the astrological, most of us grew up in this concept of the age of Aquarius and the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Well, according to just astrology, that period officially goes forward and starts on, I believe it's the 21st, if I have that correct. And so basically the Piscean age that we've been in is officially ending. Like we've been at actually the cusp for the last 8 years, I believe it is. And we go direct that day. And as we go direct, there is this moment where Jupiter and Saturn are conjuncting, and we're actually going to be streaming live with one of my mentors, Ayman Sawaf, who wrote the book Sacred Commerce, and also is the founder of the Whole Life Expos. And he is actually getting government permission to go into, did you have his book in front of you? Yes, that is one of my dear friends. And he is he's getting government permission to go into one of the pyramids in Egypt. And we are going to be broadcasting live with him at 10:10 a.m. That morning, Mountain Time. And then we're switching over to Anastara, who is on this call with us at 11:11 a.m. And she's actually going to be doing a download during that celestial event. So in many ways, yes, this is the shedding, according to what many believe, of the age that has brought us here today, and this new age that we're about to step into, which a lot of people talk about as an age of cooperation.
Beautiful. Well, that might be a good time for us to put the spotlight on Anastara. Anastara, tell us about what realm you are representing. Maybe also anything you want to add about this astrological time.
Oh, yes. Thank you very much, Scott. Anastara Maka here, mother of 1111 Unify and the 1111 Community Network. And it is my great pleasure to be the steward for spirituality and religion. Really, in these polarized times where there's so much left, right, blue, red, blue, like we need to find a way to be in the middle way, the beauty way, the middle ground, where we can see all sides, because it is infinite. There's infinite possibilities around us at all times. And so one of my core values and beliefs when I look at spirituality and religion is that everybody has their own unique path towards source or God, goddess, whatever name you put to it, that energy that is within you and without, the creator of our lives, and how we cooperate with each other in that divine matrix to create the reality that we're in. And so the duality matrix is really about polarization, us, them, etc. And so Sadiq's work with going from me to the we three, it really is about triangulating the energy and having that outer point where you can see all sides, all pieces of the puzzle. And so who's to say one side is right and the other is wrong? Everybody has their own phenomenological world, which is the way they experience and perceive their world. And so when we come into a place of pure compassion and acceptance for everyone, whatever their belief systems are, that's when we can move into this new golden age and this peaceful age of Aquarius that we are all saying is going to start becoming this reality. We're moving from the 3D reality into our fifth dimensional experience of Mothership Earth. And that is a place where we all live in harmony with each other and the land. So this is in my heart and open to guiding conversations and being a part of them all week long. Thank you for having me.
Beautiful. Thank you, Anastara.
Yes.
Well, I'd like to just talk a little, like I want to read the first line of the Whole Person Convergence website. And it's Building Bridges Beyond Barriers is a whole person event series produced by Earthwalk. And I really want to hear a little bit more about Earthwalk. And I really want to hear about who, like, tell me more a little bit about gosh, I'm losing it a little, sorry. About the realms. Like, who's next in the realms? Yeah. I'll just randomly pick. How about Becky? I'd love to hear about Becky.
Hello, everyone. I'm so grateful to be here and so excited about this new realm that we are all adventuring into, and grateful to Whole Person Convergence and to Scott and Trish for having us here tonight so that we can invite you to join us on this adventure for the next 12 days. So I represent the communications and media realm, and my work in my career since I was a wee girl has been about the written word, and then going on to communications in marketing and public relations, and then in media and broadcasting. And so our particular realm I hope the people that we're bringing together, we aspire to dive deep into, extract the things from the old story that might still have meaning that we can bring into the new story of what media might be. Many of us here are representative, I believe, maybe all of us, of the new media. And the new media is not this flat thing that you just turn on and have an experience and watch it and kind of tune out. The new media is about engaging people in having an experience, having an educational experience, having a emotional experience, allowing emotions to be expressed and witnessed, storytelling, and where people hear stories. And I believe we're creating media for that. The fact that we can have this dynamic conversation from all over the world in this extraordinary way and bring you, the viewers, into this experience is just absolutely speaking about what the new story is, and that it is right here. We're co-creating it together. So my particular realm, I'm really excited and look forward to exploring that and what we can learn from the old story and what we can co-imagine and invent in the new story that can help heal us and bring us together, the way Astara was talking, Anastara was talking about, bringing us together in I call it a unity consciousness. And so I'm just super grateful. Thank you for letting me share.
Well, thank you, Becky. I always love when she says, when I was a wee little girl. It's just so sweet. It was awesome. Well, let's hear from one of the guys. Marco Body, tell us all about yourself and your realm.
Good evening, Scott. It's lovely to be here. The realm that I am stewarding and honored to is learning and education. And there's something that I've always been fascinated in is what enables people to grow and acquire things, and what stops them from growing and acquiring things, whether these are new effective habits or whether these are old addictions or anger points that they're not dealing with. All of that aspect is learning, and at the same time there is a death that happens. A part of us that has an identity with being something has to die, and the best way we can die is to have a loving encasement, an environment of loving compassion and care held around us. So our education system at the moment is totally not set up like this. It is a patriarchal, masculine penis shape that tries to push information onto you. And here's the information, take it, learn it, now tell it me back, now learn it. It is madness, it is heartless. And what we're doing with these new ways of educating and learning is we're taking the heart and the compassion and the spirituality and the consciousness of why are we, how do we present like an open flower so that the bees of curiosity buzz in and take the pollen by themselves. We're not like grabbing the bee and shoving it in the flower. Learn. Instead, we're come. Let us show you the beauty of creation. Let us hold the space for you to unfold through your fear and embrace the truth that you know in your being, the truth. And you know, truth is in the eye of the beholder, of course. But the understanding that you don't have to be limited by your beliefs of how you think the universe is. That actually quantum physics has shown us that really we compress the universe, we compress the wave particle and create the universe's physical essence by our very observation. And again, in psychology, we know that we notice things and we find things that we look for, and we look to confirm the data we think we know. So the essence of learning and education is really to provide a space where people feel safe and held and embraced enough to die the edges that they've been holding that limit their belief systems, both in what they know and what they feel and think and do. So it's really love is what we're talking about, holding a loving space of embrace.
Sounds like a really feminine approach, which is my whole shtick actually with my business partner right now.
Yeah.
It's like really showing up in that loving, open, fully embodied space. And I'd really love to drop it back in to ask another female-bodied human as Miss Hawkins. Would you like to share about your realm?
Thank you. Thank you. Greetings, everyone. And I am so honored and excited to be here. I believe that what we are experiencing in this 12 days through the 12 realms is going to be magical, actually, because it is all interconnected. And as the steward of the health and wellness realm, I look at it as the golden thread that weaves through each of the other realms, because we're talking about health of the individual, health of relationships, health within our communities, health within our governments and our countries, and as it relates to our planets and our animals and trees. And one of the things that I am very passionate about bringing further into this conversation too is about the fact that a lot of our health and illness is because of the foods that we have learned that we are able and conditioned to eat, and really bringing things back to, through unlearning to learning. And I love Mark Body's just whole education methodology, because that's what we're in. We're in a space of heart learning and listening to what our bodies are telling us about what it is that we put in us that helps to make us better as who we are, having our true essence and energies to explode within us so that we can be our highest and best selves, and learning how to use food as medicine. We have those who know this, who have been actually struggling through the Pisces age, and those who have thought in the masculine realm of power and control and manipulation. And it is time now, and it is happening, where the feminine energy is emerging to a very powerful degree. And I say powerful in an energetic sense, because power can also be quiet. It can be very soothing, versus the power that we have been conditioned to understand as hard and pushy and manipulative. So in health and wellness, again, I believe that part of what we are going to continue to see is how to honor the earth, because the earth is what has the ability to provide us with everything that we need to nurture our bodies, that help us to nurture relationships. How many tables have we been around sharing, breaking bread, and sharing the good foods, the vegetables and the fruits that are from the garden? And the garden was the original source of food, and we're going to get back to it. There are studies that have proven that if we grow the right foods, enough food can be produced to feed the entire world, that there would not be hunger as an issue that we deal with. And as we're moving in this space of Aquarius and the love and light that is coming through it, I just have to say that innovation and technology, collaboration, co-creation, all of those things are what health and wellness are about. When those are in our essence of communication, so much is able to happen. And we're going to see that as we move into the next decades. And I'm just so excited to be a part of it all through Earthwalk and all of the other amazing organizations connected to Earthwalk.
Thank you, Lynn. It's such an embarrassment of riches with so many amazing speakers here. I'm going to put the spotlight on you, Peter, and hear a little bit about which realm you are the steward of.
Well, thank you. So I think I'm kind of the newbie here. You guys are all so awesome. It's like, I feel like I'm walking into a group of people I don't know and I know very well. So what you're saying is so, I'm feeling it and I appreciate it. My realm is economics and business. And I'm an entrepreneur. I am also a therapist. I have a private practice. I'm a writer, a published writer. I teach, I do lots of different things. And one of the things that I get asked to speak on occasionally is this new entrepreneurial spirit that is evolving. And that is, I think, one of the gifts that COVID is actually giving us right now, where people are being called to look at business and the economy in a different way. And I love the words that I'm hearing from people. And I think business is really the area we can create an enormous amount of change. And if we, part of my goal is that we enlist people like the health and wellness people. We enlist people like the media and entertainment people to actually, because they've been, you're the realms, those realms have been doing the big push that I think business is finally waking up to. Business is transforming. It's becoming less about the bottom dollar for the investors and more about the global economy and the cash that is created, not necessarily through the purchase of a product, but through the connection and the relationship to or with that product, or even the maker of the product. And so there's a lot of shifts happening in business that business needs to embrace a lot of the realms that have spoken so far. Business, in order for business to be successful and to continue its success, it needs to embrace connection. Business has been going in this realm of, I'm just going to throw stuff at you and expect you as the consumer to take it. And consumers are now saying, that doesn't work. I'm not interested in that. And if you're just going to keep hitting me in that way, I'm definitely not even going to engage with your product or with the message. And I think over the last 10 years, businesses have been really starting to understand that. They've been developing ways, maybe not genuine ways, but they've been developing ways to connect with people in more of a heartfelt manner, in a more of an authentic manner, more of a transparent manner. And the words that have been thrown in so far that I think business is working on embracing are for words like co-creation and connection and communication. And for businesses to really grow and thrive, I'm going to encourage people, whether you're an individual entrepreneur like me, or whether you actually work with a larger corporation, to bring those words and the understanding of those words into your mission statements. And a lot of people are having to rebuild their mission statements in the business world right now. What is your mission statement for the product that you are creating and that you are sharing with people? So to bring these words into a mission statement, that it's not just we have a mission statement of selling 10,000 widgets or 10 billion widgets. It's not about the widget. It's about the connection that we have with people that allows us to actually share our products and not just throw it out at you. And so this realm is something that I was actually a little uncomfortable with when Zadok came to me and said, hey, what about this realm? I'm really feeling it. And I said, okay, all right, I'll trust you, Zadok. It's a realm that I've been in as an entrepreneur. And it's been fun to actually have my feet in the real holistic side of life. And now this sort of traditionally looked at upon as kind of cold and practical side. And I think business is waking up to the idea that there needs to be a merger. It's kind of like in my field, we're starting a chamber of commerce, a portion of our chamber of commerce. And our chamber of commerce is actually creating an integrative business council. So where holistic practitioners are being welcomed into the business space, whereas prior to that, holistic practitioners weren't really they weren't welcome. They were looked at as the woo-woo people that nobody could kind of relate to. So I think I've talked too much, but I think there's wonderful things happening in the field, and I love the collaboration that's happening right now.
Peter, thank you. And I just want to acknowledge you for pushing up against your discomfort and just knowing that you are the best person for this, because like knowing that you're pushing against that and having that faith that you're in the right spot at the right time. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
I'd really like to introduce Jonah, who's been on the show before, and give him an opportunity to just take it away. Tell us about your realm.
Oh, Jonah looks frozen. All right. How about Joshua Hathaway?
Oh, he's
We
here.
will bring on Joshua while hopefully Jonah gets his technology going. Hey, Joshua. Good to see you.
Hello, friends. Good to see you all. Thank you so much for sharing these beautiful visions, this mosaic that we are creating here through the many realms of our lives. It's beautiful to see sort of painted in words here. And I am honored to be stewarding the realm of governance and sovereignty in this new, beautiful future that we are conducting. And for me, it could easily, just as easily be called collaboration and sovereignty. And what does it mean to be a sovereign soul, 100% responsible for oneself, governed by no one else, and yet collaborating together in a whole which deeply values consent, which holds high thresholds, and that is ultimately not governed by people, but governed by love, by a vision for our collective thriving. That's governed by a commitment to understanding and empathy. That's governed by a sense that a deep understanding that this fracture that we inherited between the good of the individual and the good of the whole, like we're like placing those, pitting them against each other somehow in our conditioning, is just dissolved, is healed. And we recognize that every individual thrives more fully to the extent that the whole is thriving. To see our collective body as a human body, as a living organism, and to recognize that the distribution of resources throughout that organism are essential for the thriving of the whole organism. To recognize that, to get out of this sense that the brain is the thing that's actually controlling the body. Oh my God, I'm so glad that my brain is not in charge of my heart and my lungs and all of the functions of my body. Oh no, decentralized leadership. The body knows exactly what to do. And when we really embrace these models and we recognize that the true kingdom is actually right inside of this body, it starts right here, that I will not find ingredients in the kingdom that I do not bring to the kingdom, that I have to be willing to really dissolve these distinctions in myself and to be able to be present with all of the flinch responses and reflexes that have been trained into my nervous system around what it means to trust another person, what it means to give unconditionally and trust that it doesn't have to come back in a direct line, but that what I give comes back around within the whole. So constantly learning how to walk this beautiful tightrope between our radical sovereignty, radical responsibility for every ingredient that I put into the cauldron of our collective creation, and this radical interdependence, knowing that I can lean in and trust that we are doing this together. So thank you so much for listening. That's what inspires me about the realm of governance and sovereignty and this collaboration and sovereignty journey that we're on.
Joshua, sovereignty is really one of the key pieces that I've been developing and speaking about for the last year. And thank you. It was so concise, so clear. That was also very heavy. Let's all collectively take another deep breath. And something that I heard and really felt in my chest is sovereignty is listening to the body, because the body has so much inner deep wisdom. Thank you. I'd really love to hear a little bit more from Elizabeth. Can you tell us about your realm and what's up for you?
Thank you. Very happy to be here. My realm is the environment, food, water, energy. I would say that I'm the very best of the fundamentalist realms. What is fundamental? And what does it mean to come into that core fundamental truth of being alive on this planet? Us as a species of Homo sapien. I love the wheel of co-creation, having studied with Barbara for many years. She also has the thought that we as a species are on the cusp of our evolution into a new species, Homo universalis.
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean to be a human on Earth? It means, I invite us all to put our hands on our hearts for a minute and just feel our heartbeat. Each one of us has one. We are alive, that gift of being alive. Taking that fundamentally deeper. What does it mean to have a body? It means that we are part of this earth. There's been a lot of talk of that in terms of our unity of being here on earth. We need good food for a good life, pure food for a pure life. We need pure relations. We need to be clean. Is it as we see it, so be it. Like as we imagine it, as we create it, that is the world we live in. Something below that. We're hearing a lot about the new world, creating a new world. It's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful aspiration. It's one of our highest aspirations to live in a world that works for all. And we're living into that now. We're really beginning to live into it and recognize that that is our choice. Yet there's something fundamentally deeper than that. There's a true world that has nothing to do with our human constructs. The world of nature, that incredible, brilliant, divine design of nature that as much as we humans try, we could never replicate, never make as perfect and as just pristinely efficient and elegant. It's really feeling into that as our oneness, as our unity. And yet there's a fundamental truth below that. And we keep coming deeper into that. And what is it? What is that? And if there is a magic in this realm, it is in the water. That all of life on earth is the infinite creative expression of water. No water, no life. Without liquid water in our just sweet spot in the sun's radiance, we would be Mars. There's water on Mars, but there's no life that we know of. So what does it mean to in that magic, and that the quote that thousands, and I would say hundreds of thousands, millions of people live without love, but not one can live without water. I would say that water is love. So taking it deeper even into that, recognizing that 99% of the molecules in our body are water molecules. Can't be 99% of anything without being that thing. So if we are water, how do we live as water? So that's where I come to with this environment, is really recognizing that we are water, living on a water planet, being expressed as water. And that is our common bond. The covalent hydrogen bond is what links all of life to itself. So coming into that and recognizing that our relationship with water on this planet as a species is in this fatal delusion of separation. That's where we need to come back into remembrance of who we are on this species, in the species, as this planet, as this water. And when we can come into alignment with this, our essential source water, we have the greatest ally for healing ever.
Mm.
So I call us to come back into remembrance of our sacred relationship with water.
Mm.
And when we do that, water will take care of the rest, because that's what water does. Water rejuvenates, water revitalizes, restores, recycles, renews again and again and again and again.
Our bodies are 80% water.
By volume.
Yeah.
99% of the number of molecules in our body are water molecules.
Yes. So we
Because
are
they're
water.
small. They're really small. And yet they're infinitely connected to themselves. Water is only water because it's connected to itself.
Elizabeth, thank
So with
you
that
for-
celebration, we get to dance like water. And life is actually really super simple. That we be in this love of water and love, and we're loving ourselves. We're loving each other. We're loving the planet. And we're loving the fact that we can be creative.
Absolutely.
So,
Elizabeth, thank you for bringing
thrilled
our
to be
attention and calling us back into honoring the water. It's in the ceremonies that I've sat in, it's one of my favorite parts is when we honor the water. And it's one of the longest parts for the places that we have sat in. And it's so fluid and feminine and human and embryonic, and it's just that juicy bit of really honoring that humanity and honoring that flow. Absolutely. It's the water, and as it rains down right now in California, we're so grateful for the water. Thank you for calling us to presence.
It is our most authentic self.
Yeah. I would also like to introduce Jonah again. And it's nice to see you back. Let's hear about your realm.
Aloha. Thank you, Trish. Yeah, it's good to be back. I appreciate the patience with the technology. So I'm Jonah Martin Lyon here with representing the realm of justice and protection. And I love coming right after Elizabeth. We've connected on the waters themselves, and been thinking about this realm of justice and protection. I really want to call in, and like the following up of that environment is to think about like there's such a passion in Kuleana, soul purpose around us as being stewards upon this planet and protecting our natural resources, protecting our water, protecting our land, protecting our air, protecting our culture, protecting ourselves, our humanity. And so that's what really wants to come forth when I think about this notion of protection, is really just how we can show up. We think about like our bodies, the anatomy of our bodies and the health of our bodies. There's so much there that goes into the protection of our bodies, from our skin to what's going on the cellular level and so on and so forth. And so there's deep anatomy around that, and to call in the energy around justice, and those integrate so beautifully and weave together in themselves of the unity. When I think of justice, I think of unitive justice. I think of what it is to bring about, to let go of any of the learnings and the information along the way that we've had to that we've moved through in our evolution, in our process as water beings, that information, that wisdom dropping into us. But like, how do we bring love to that? How do we bring compassion to that? How do we bring forgiveness, to that? And justice, when I think of both justice and protection, especially after following this water, is what happened at Standing Rock as an example. How people from all over the world came together for the protection of water. And that is the connection point. That is the great unifier upon this blue planet, is the waters, and so having water protectors in there. And that's also where I went into a field when I started creating and founding the Jedi Alliance, it actually, the name that I first was going with was the Justice Alliance. And because I was feeling the deep need for us to bring about justice for all people, you know, and justice to the environment and justice to all sentient life. And so that was the deep resonance for me, was around that. And so I'm excited about the opportunity to steward this realm with some genius representatives, you know, coming in and speaking to this topic. And not only that, but also seeing how this is all weaving together and how we can speak to each one of these realms and how the realms speak to each other. You know, it's like the elements speaking to each other, and the spirit that integrates and interweaves it all together in that etheric space. And so thank you for doing this, having us all on. Scott, Trish, thank you so much for bringing the Straight Talk, bringing us on as a team, and giving thanks to all of us here as stewards. Big love to all of you indeed. Thank you, Sadiq, for holding it down and keeping the vision alive. And mahalo.
Jonah, it's great to see you again. Glad to be collaborating with you. Always, always, always. Well, I want to appreciate everybody who's been patient. It's really like this embarrassment of so many amazing people. I want to bring on Russ Feingold. Russ is somebody that actually we realized that we met a long time ago. And Russ, it's great to have you with us. And I believe you're doing arts and culture. Tell us about that.
Wow, let's take a deep breath. What a beautiful tsunami of wisdom and information, and most importantly, connection. And for me, I'm going to segue into art in a moment, but this is art. Beyond what anyone is saying, I'm just blown away by the miracle that we're here together. Coming in a good way, just to be together in a good way. What came to me as Brother Jonah was speaking, just feeling where he's coming from. I'm way more interested in where a person's coming from. So easy to get caught in our words and get caught in concepts. And almost everyone who's spoken has mentioned the heart. And that is really what my life work is about, is the healing of the heart. So when you start talking about the heart, you're strumming my soul, you know, my soul song, my heartstrings. And so as I was feeling where Brother Jonah was coming from, this quote came to me, you know, from a brother who practices, you know, Tai Chi and Taoism very much in the Buddhist way. And I remember seeing this, I think he said it, but I also saw it in print. And it says, if you can't improve upon the silence, perhaps choose to keep your mouth closed. So that was the transmission I got from you, Jonah. Even in your words, I could feel your silence. And you're speaking from the silence, sharing from the silence. And Elizabeth, I could feel underneath. And that's where we spoke earlier. There's an earlier conversation about this agreement field that we're in. And that this agreement field is mostly based on a violation. And for us to come back into the heart and reestablish an agreement of a shared reality of care is really where we're at to heal this true pandemic, this true disease of the mind, of dis-ease, not being at ease in our minds colliding, but the shared heart. And my favorite art is the art of the heart. I guess people could argue that art is anything, and sure, maybe, but what I'm most interested in is the art of the heart. If the heart isn't involved, I'm not interested, not as a judgment to anyone else, but connection with the heart is the most meaningful, nourishing, fruitful experience by far, bar none, of anything I've ever experienced in this life and beyond. And I have a teacher who talks about, well, if it was that easy, then everybody would be doing it. And that's what we're here today. And I think our lives are based on that, is how to actually connect with the heart. And so the way to connect with the heart is an art in itself. And one thing I want to share about that is when we go into the heart, because everyone's like, oh, have an open heart, go into your heart. It's like, well, it's pretty dicey work. It's pretty daunting because we go into our hearts In what's in the heart, yes, the infinite beauty and love, all of the care, all the most imaginable, unimaginable treasures of life are in the heart. You know what else is in there? All the unresolved emotional issues and betrayals and abandonments, all that material that lies in shadow. That's why it's very, very daunting work and nothing more rewarding. So, that being said, art. What does art have to do with it? Everything. Everything has to do with it. And as I was staring here, art was just the spirit of art was just flowing through me and all around me. And what came to me was, who am I to tell you what art is? But I'll tell you what art isn't. Art is not being prejudiced. Art is not diminishing. Art is not abusing. Art is not violating.
Mm.
And then I'll segue into art is what happens when you stop trying.
Yes.
Art is what's left when you stop pushing your agenda. Art is what is left when your ego lets go.
Mm.
Art is what we are doing. Art is the interface, the dance between our bodies and our souls. And to honor the anniversary of the venerable John Lennon, with a little bit of creative or artistic license, art is what happens when we're busy making plans.
Mm. Russell, thank you. Thank you for that. I see art in a way that's really an authentic expression of one's truth and heart. And I love how just succinct you said that, and how your heart just vibrates out in all of that. Thank you.
Thank you, my dear one. And the last thing I'll probably share in the moment is I'm a big fan of Albert Einstein. And Albert Einstein, when a friend of my mother's, actually, some about 15, 20 years ago, gave me a book that spotlights on Einstein. And it shared about more the mystical aspect of Albert Einstein, noted to be one of those brilliant minds. But I don't think what a lot of people get, perhaps, is that how I understood when I got from that book, which completely resonated, why I really was drawn to this man, was that he had a mystical experience when he was 17 years old. Well, whatever you want to call it, a mystical experience, connection with the divine, with the connection with all that is. And he spent the rest of his life trying to explain it. And he used the language of science, because that was most predominant, or at least what he was in, to be able to express that. So look at the unified field theory of relativity. From a spiritual perspective, a connection of unification, of transcendence, from connection with all that is. Just go back and read his, or just feel into what he was sharing. It's deep, deep spiritual experience. And that's what I really loved about, there's so much about the convergence of science and spirituality. Well, the heart of it is all the same.
Yes.
And science is just another language to express it, like music. It's another language to express the unexpressible. And that's why I love mystical poetry. Art is the expression of that which is, without question, impossible to express, but can be lived and can be shared.
Thank you. I love that you brought up the intersection between science and spirituality, because I'd really love to introduce Miss Wendy Silvers, who is the science and technology. Thank you. You're perfect.
Well, hi, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to be here. And actually, the other night when Sadiq and I met, there were two categories, and I think it's really fascinating that I would be stewarding science and technology. so I am honored to be among you all. And I think that spiritual practice is a technology. And I believe that it is about embodiment, and that real science doesn't have a lot to do with facts per se, because there's a lot of junk science that gets accepted as science. And I believe that technology is the implementation. So I'm really fascinated. I can't wait to talk with, I don't even know who I'm going to be dialoguing with. And I can't wait to dive deep into those dialogues and learn a lot. I like to listen a lot to what's being said and what isn't being said.
Well, welcome, Wendy. I think we've heard from everybody, and I'm going to go to gallery view in a moment. But I want to actually share a pretty cool thing about the convergence of science and spirituality. About the most ancient texts that have survived are the Vedic scriptures written in Sanskrit about 7,000 years ago. And in the Vedic scriptures, God is called Brahman, and there are 26 principles assigned to Brahman in the Vedic scriptures. Fast forward to today, when our most sophisticated form of science is, of course, quantum physics. And we now understand that there's a unified field of ever-changing molecules that we're all a part of. And guess what? Scientifically, they have determined right now there are 26 principles of the unified field. And the 26 principles of the unified field perfectly correlate with the 26 principles of Brahman, or God, as defined in the Vedic scriptures 7,000 years ago. Meaning our most ancient spirituality and our most modern science are coming together and converging. One last kind of cool thing, we had Deepak Chopra on our show a couple of times, and Deepak points out that the average person, if you live to be about 90 or 95 years old, you will in your lifetime share approximately 10,000 molecules with every other being who's ever lived. You'll have had 10,000 molecules that were in Jesus's body and Hitler's body and Cleopatra's body, and of course, all the people whose names we will never know. So I just had to throw that in there because I think it's really, really cool. So I'm going to gallery view, and I have an idea. So we've all heard different realms. So I want to open it up to anybody who wants to express how their realm might be challenged or needs to collaborate with one of the other realms, because that's, as I understand it, the whole point. I mean, the word is convergence. It's the whole person convergence. We're living in a time where, in order for business, we've got to fuck the environment, and and vice versa. And there's all these like the ways where we aren't collaborating. So who wants to bring up how your realm is longing to connect with one of the other realms? And I'll open it up to anybody.
Scott, I have something to say there.
Okay.
It's funny because I'm one of the founders of the Compassion Games, survival of the kindest. And I couldn't help but feeling attached to my realm, relations, and peace as I heard the other realms. I said, okay, wait a minute, how does that compare to my realm? And well, there's something you just said that is really profound, I believe. I want to underscore. Because in the relations world, today was a remarkable event. I've kind of been on the frontiers of what togetherness looks like, which is what we did today I've never done before. So we lit this global fire. And it actually is the 8th fire. There's a prophecy about it. But literally on Zoom, fire burning in the back country of Australia with Uncle Lewis. And he played his didge. And on Zoom, sometimes if someone's not doing a good sound thing, like echo cancels. Like if you try to sing happy birthday, it's really hard. Well, this didge playing blew beyond that. and touched this community experience that we were having online. And then this fire from the Amazon, elders came out of the Amazon.
So it was a sacred fire, not like places being burned.
Yeah,
just
no,
to be
this
really
is
clear.
global fire.
A fire.
But the thing I just wanted to say that ties this together, thank you, Summer.
Yeah.
It was a really remarkable experience. Like today shifted in a way I'll never get over. Is the prophecy of the eighth fire says that the Pale people, and we've been doing this event about the Global Center for Indigenous Sciences and Ancestral Wisdom in support of the Indigenous world. But they said that we would reach a point where we'd realize there's a fork in the road. And one way looks beautiful and green, like thriving, and the other way looks really dark. But what we choose to do is to not go down either of those paths, but to turn around and realize we missed the wisdom that was there all along the way. And that's why it was so profound. And we did Spanish to English translation, real time in a Zoom experience. Were you able to pick either channel? And we were connected and related in a way I had never, and such dignity, these people who came out of the jungle to say, now is our time. This is the fire. Prophecies, dynamic change, and this was Phil's theme for this. And Hereditary Chief Phil Lane Jr., I know he's sleeping well tonight.
Oh.
Thank you so much, John. Thank you so much.
Oh.
A little bit more that I would just say too, in light of the collaboration part, and in the the sharing around the fire, is I just felt a connection of all the. I mean, it was like we need all of the realms together.
Yes.
I don't want to just collaborate with one. How can we like be converging together with all the realms all the time, no matter what? Like that's what I felt too of what you're expressing.
Exactly.
Just to connected to these realms is like I felt that through all of you. It was like a bubbling of connection that was happening.
I also wanted to share that I'm excited that we're going into this process as far as allowing the different realms or the stewards of each of the realms to start talking with each other and asking the important questions of like, do you see me? Do I feel seen by you? Do I feel like I want to collaborate with you as a realm or not? And because one of the things that we will be doing over the course of these 12 days is after we go through the journey of the realms, starting this Sunday and all the way through Friday, the next morning on Saturday, the 19th, we're going to have 6 roundtables similar to this. So every single representative that has been invited, so all 72, are going to be paired into each of those 6 realms. So 12 representatives, 1 from each realm, just like here, are going to be paired with 2 of the stewards, so 2 of the people here. And we're going to go through 6 roundtables and ask the very question that Scott's talking about. As far as we're going to actually start doing this whole process, we're calling it societal constellation work. So some people know about family constellation work. So we're going to have all the different realms talk to each other and say like, is business talking to arts and culture? And if they're not, what's going on in that relationship? And let's like really deepen and explore it, not with any angle of like, villain, victim, hero, but just like really like, just what's the relationship there and how can we really hold space for that? And so what you just invited, Scott, I'm excited because we're going to be doing that for a whole day with all 85 of the characters. That day. Yeah.
Wow. And how are people watching? How do they get involved? I want to make sure that we reach it out. So anybody who's watching this, how do they get involved in what's going on here, Sadiq?
Yeah, we did our best to make it really simple. And so all you have to do is go to our website. And it's earthwalkunited.org. You go on to the front page, right there, front and center, there's a portal. You click on it, and it then brings you to another page that has the layout of the 13 days, meaning again, the 12 days, and then yesterday with the pre-launch with our global partners called the Greater Collective. They sparked the fire, and then we launched our part, the 12 days today. Each day is in there. So for example, today is day one. You click on day one, it shows the entire schedule. You go in there, and then next to each of the line items with the schedule, there's a little link. You click it, it'll take you right to the room that we are all together in Zoom. So it's that simple. We try to make it extremely accessible, so no matter where you are, all you have to do is go to one place.
Beautiful. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go to gallery view and open it up. Who's someone we haven't heard from for a little while who wants to kind of connect your realm to one of the other realms? Oh my gosh, I can't believe it.
I see Becky over there.
Oh, okay.
We
were waiting for the gallery.
The gallery view, I think we have to click it to make it so for us. It's extraordinary. It is. And, you know, when we offer these convergence, sometimes it can be overwhelming because there's so many topics. And for those that are watching, I just want to invite you always to lean in where it brings you joy and playfulness and curiosity. You know, many of us have passions and things that that resonate and actually bring us joy in that work. And I feel very grateful and privileged for feeling that way. And sometimes, but I didn't always feel this way. There was a long time when I was not connected with my joy. And so I just wanted to say that, like, as we each are committed to co-creating these conversations and deepening our understanding and having these roundtables where we learn from each of the sectors, we'll hold that space, but then the participants can go and find the things that resonate and bring them joy and make them feel animated and activated. And what, as Joanna Macy says, feel active hope. Because hope to me is a verb, and it means taking actions towards co-creating the world that we believe is possible. And so I just wanted to share that because it can be, I mean, just all of these topics like that, I'm passionate about each of them, but where do we start? So I just wanted to offer that. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Becky. Thank you. And yes, as panelists, you get to choose whether you're on speaker view or gallery view, but I've got right now for the world, we're on gallery view. Russell.
This is exciting. I'm super excited. And it's beautiful to feel being in the conversation. And we're in it's a living prayer. There's a living ritual that's happening right now. And I can feel the spirit of art and culture in me and speaking in a new way as I interface with this living prayer. So I find the spirit of art in me. I see where I want to gravitate towards, which is health. It's like, oh, health. I live there and I love, my whole life is about health on all levels, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, sexual health. And where I need to go, I'm feeling very artistic. I want to speak like this. Where the spirit of art wants to go is to speak to governance. And I feel emotional. I feel scared to speak to governance. I feel that like you're going to control me and try to hold me down and imprison me and not let me express the deepest yearnings of my soul. And I'm sorry if I've abused my privilege to be able to express creativity when it wasn't safe, when it wasn't sacred, when it was violating what I thought was artistic, but it was actually a violation. And I'm afraid you're going to pin me down and make me pay for my sins. And I want to talk with you in a way, how can I meet you? How can I assure you that I'm healing and I'm going to come in a safe way and I'm going to be more authentic, I'm going to be more real and more vulnerable. I'm going to make it safe so that I don't necessarily need to be governed. And perhaps that's the governance that I seek, that I need to be responsible. Maybe that's the heart of new governance, that we're responsible and accountable, and that where I'm coming from is correlated to divinity, correlated to something that's real and true and necessary and something healthy. So I offer that to you as a prayer of peace, as an olive branch, and ask to be met in the middle in a new dance, in a new way of being, and offer that to you and ask, will you meet me? And what would you have to say? And can we dance?
Governance, do you wish to speak?
Yes. Oh, my precious ally, my beautiful friend, art and culture. My heart swells with grief and regret for the ways that my previous incarnations have been in some way at war, that governance has been an art of control and suppression and deep mistrust of the artistic impulses, the beautiful, chaotic impulses of life force that come through art. And I can only imagine how scary it is to trust that you can let the fullness of your radiance shine and not be tamped down, not be made wrong. And I just want to humbly ask for your forgiveness for the ways that in the past my realm has exceeded its margin and its authentic, integral capacity, and encroached upon your realm and not included you. And what I want to commit here and now is that beauty is one of our highest values. Our systems must become beautiful. Beauty is an essence of what we're here to create in governance. How can we allow our systems of collaboration to be good and true and beautiful in service of life and honoring of the genius, the innate genius of everyone, calling that forth and inviting that, and yet creating a safe structure and environment for that to come in, a harmonious space, an inclusive space.
I'd like to ask everybody watching right now, whether you're watching the video replay or watching live, thank you for what you two just acted out. And may we just hold that vision of what so often has been polarized, art and governance coming together.
This is the essence of the masculine and feminine right here in a certain way, right? In the old paradigm, at least.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Anastara here. Anastara here, speaking as spirituality and religion. And I wanted to step up to sister science and technology. I know that we've been separated for so long. When we were in unison in the past, we were one. We are one. Our understanding of the divine matrix and everything that connects us all is our science of today. And it is our deep ingrained belief in that interconnectedness, that oneness that we all experience, that is the basis of spirituality and religion. And we separated not so long ago when Darwin wrote his book about evolution. And there was no more creator story that God created the day and created the world in 6 days and rested on the seventh. And this religions were questioned. It was never our intention. Please, can we get along? I know we can. And as we move into this next golden age, this is what is necessary. Cooperation and collaboration from the scientific field into our spiritual beliefs, our core values, and how our governance is, from integrity and sovereignty to the non-aggression principle of just not hurting others, that we can live in our sovereign bubble and be our true sacred selves. And that science and religion together is magic. It is magic. And we all believe in magic. We did as children, and we must do so again now. Because it is the magic that we behold that co-creates our future Earth vision together. Science, will you come play with me?
Yes. I'd like to get rid of the CDC and the NIH.
The old paradigm is falling.
Get into the ancient wisdom and the new wisdom. And yes, I would absolutely play with you, spirituality and religion. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ooh, looking forward to that.
Let us really light the fire. Let us really stand in a place of receptivity and a place of newness, that together we are uniting, and together we are extinguishing the greed of big tech titans and the and big gov that are eliminating the unique ecosystem of the human in favor of greed and world domination, and stepping into that field of expansion and support of the human be-ing, the supreme revelation and expression of the divine, of the masculine and the feminine, the unity and the marriage, of the spirituality and the science, and using the technology of that which is not only ancient and based in truth, but that which is the visionaries from the future coming forward to support the sovereignty of the mother, of the conscious masculine, of the children, and hereby releasing and relinquishing any control over cells and human beings having free and full self-expression, that together we come together and we create this container, this force field that cannot be torn asunder by greed, by ego, but one that is a living testament to the healing of the immune system, to the heart, to the infinite being the rays, and that anything unlike that dissolves and returns to its native nothingness now.
It is done, it is done, it is done.
And so it is.
Yeah, thank you, sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the Mother Earth speaking. This is the Mother Earth speaking to relationship and peacekeeping. You are each my child, my children, my offspring, my love. And yet you are at war with me. Why is that? What density does this hold you frozen in this greed of which science and technology speaks of? Can you not hear the children crying? Are we going to continue this play of separation? We are together. We are always together. We have always been together. We can never be torn asunder, ever, because we are one. There is only one water cycle on earth, and yet in your ignorance and your arrogance and your need for power and control, you have pushed the balance to the point of tipping over the edge. What can we do to come back into correct relationship with our source? What can we do together to come back into alignment with all that is and make peace with creation? We must retain what remains of the natural world or suffer irreversible consequences. The time is now, and I ask you to stand in solidarity with each other and with me, that we may regenerate life to full abundance and thrivability. This is within your choice. Do not turn away.
It's hard to listen to you, Earth. It's been easier to ignore you and to want to focus on where you're cared for and where you are beautiful and where you are thriving. It has been hard to actually be in relationship with the places on you that are hurting the most. It's been really hard. It's overwhelming how much pain you have. And as I say that, I also recognize that this moment is a new day. There is something in this exchange that is inviting peace and relationships with all life. There's something that's making me lean in and hear you and listen in a way that maybe my whole body has never actually fully listened to. And I want to make sure that every single cell is listening to you right now and honoring you.
Yeah.
Especially the most tired part of myself. The most fatigued, in pain. Part of myself that even thinks I know anything right now wants to hear you and respect you. So I don't know all the answers, but I do know that this moment is a new opportunity.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's just been too easy to take you for granted. You've been taken for granted. Assume that somehow you would miraculously replenish and that there was an infinite space, infinite resources that you even thought of as a resource. We were born into this way of thinking. Fortunately, we are awakening and remembering. This is evidence of it, this conversation right here. That we are rising together to realize that it's that intrapersonal holiness that leads to the interpersonal wholeness. And we have not been in balance. This woman today from the Amazon, she came out of the jungle. She said, "You eat money." It shook me. She reminded me, that's right, we're so out of touch. That our food is our money. And we have forgotten the earth. So this turning backward is the best hope. We don't need to get smarter. Maybe just a little more present, a little more heart, and a little more space for you to be heard, and for that science and spirit to balance. is to allow for the unknowable, for science to tolerate the mystery, and that maybe for some crazy reason we've all arrived at this moment to be a part of this great turning. May it be so. May it be so. Please forgive us. We're awakening and remembering.
And I love you.
Yes. I can't live without
really
you.
do.
I can't live without you.
I want there to be life way beyond this lifetime that looks, I see a vision of peace where all of you is thriving and beautiful, and you're happy and you're cared for.
Never taken for granted.
Remembering me. Grateful and gratitude. Remembering that relationship is the currency of every living system.
Aho mitakuas.
Let's suggest that, again, all of us on the panel, in the Zoom room, watching at home, live or recorded. So I'll take a moment in our own way, make a new commitment to our relationship to Mother Earth, Gaia, that we may be a caregiver to the earth, a gardener of the earth, as opposed to just taking from the earth what we need. Aho, Ashe, Amen.
Arkabadi here. Oh. Learning and education. I was going to say when this question was posed, there is no difference between the realms. But what has been demonstrated here is exactly the magic of unifying, of embracing the masculine and the feminine, the yin, the yang, the shadow and the light. This is necessary, this modeling and embodying, as we talk about the family constellation, the societal constellation, where we model and we embrace our essence of what we can represent and talk freely. What has been modeled here is so beautiful. And as education and learning, I honor the shadow in the motivation, both what attracts you and what repels you is the same one force. Your shadow and your light is one. I promise as education to be open, to receive the wisdom from all other realms so that we may impart this to our children, to our adults, to the unfolding evolution of creation as it continues to spiral in unison with itself. I honor your journeys and I honor ours in that journey.
And I'd like to speak as business. And as business and economics, I've found it difficult to reach a lot of you. As business and economics, I found that the tool that I am is often made wrong or bad or punished, and as if I'm supposed to come to reach you and to remind you that I am a tool, that business is a tool, and that it is a tool that can be used to take all of your skills and to bring them into economies, into systems. And that business is made up of people, and the rules of business are structured by you. And so I invite collaboration, and with the recognition that I am a tool for you to use, for you to engage with, for you to pick up. So many times spirituality and religion is afraid of business and feels that I'm going to corrupt or make wrong or somehow poison your spirituality. And I am one of the best tools for you to use to share your spirituality, to bring it to the masses, to allow more people and to allow the flow of it into the economy of the systems. If you don't like the way that the business is being run, then step into it. Come to me, share your music, your life, your art, bring that connection that you have in media, bring the education you want to demonstrate, you want to disseminate into the world. Business has been ostracized by many of these groups or used in a way that isn't appropriate or not sustainable. So bring your ideas and your knowledge of sustainability to business. Let business actually support the rebirth of the mother. But if you keep making business wrong and you keep punishing business and you keep making the systems that are in place, these pipelines for you to use, then you're having to rebuild the wheel. So come in and know that business isn't going to come to you. It doesn't work that way. But these systems are there for you to take advantage of, to you to harness as an energy. Business is often associated with money, and money is often made wrong and bad. And yet money is just a representation of prosperity and abundance. Two words that are synonymous with the divine. So bring that understanding that you have of the divine, of the divinity into business. Embrace me. Stop pushing me away. Use the tools that I offer you to elevate this planet. And if you don't like a system, you don't have to reinvent it. Just jump in and adjust it, tweak it, change it. Let it evolve in your hands. And I just felt as business, this was an opportunity for me to speak and to remind you that I am you. Business is made up of people. People create economies. So don't separate yourself from who I am. Embrace me and use the implementations, the tools that are there for you. Thank you.
I've added health and wellness because I think that there could be a beautiful dialogue between health and wellness and business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As an entrepreneur, I totally relate and am drawn so fully into this conversation. As I call us healthpreneurs, I dance with you in and through everything that you have stated. And I also see health and wellness as the golden thread of consciousness to the creation of new paradigms, new ways of thinking about entrepreneurship and the economy and business and spirituality and religion and all of the realms. And really bringing in heartful systems. We all use systems in everything that we do, from learning and education to justice, yet we have gone without the heartfulness. And bringing heartful systems into building the bridges of conversations, connecting conversations, wisdom conversations, healing the divides, healing the hurts, healing the diminishment of people and things, healing the injustices of all kinds, people, the planet, our animals, our rainforests, our oceans, healing the throwing away of the thrown away, our children, orphans, and foster children, just looking at having the opportunity through these connecting and wisdom conversations to create such healing, and actually flip the page, awakening more as we enter this new age of unification, innovation, co-creation, collaboration, all of the things that, quite honestly, I have felt in my 14 years of entrepreneurship have been things that I and many of my friends and collaborators have been able to do within ourselves, but it's been a chore to do it outside of the realm of the easy co-creation. And I'll put it that way because these are like-minded people. It's time to expand. And in that expansion, entering this new age of sun and love and joy and air and water and earth and fire, and utilizing the innovative technologies and innovative thinking and processes and systems that can come out of it all. Science can dance with art and dance with spirituality and dance with religion and economics and business and justice and learning and education and resources, and dance with infrastructure and communication, dance with media, because we're speaking in a new language. We're speaking in a new voice and we're being heard. The awakening is happening and it is in our communicating these bridges of conversations that are necessary, where we will see the relationships being built and honored and respected, because they will be coming from a different set of core values, a more community. And I was looking at something the other day and someone spelled community, lowercase COMM, capital unity. And I just thought that was beautiful. Community. And community leads to prosperity, because where there is one who is prosperous, we can see that expanding and permeating throughout the entire community, because we live in a world of abundance. And how it is that we have seen it diminished. We're flipping the page. We're moving in a new direction, and we are seeing the health that we are interjecting into all of these realms. Wellness will be the result. And I honor and embrace every realm that is represented here. I really think that those selected and those that agreed because they knew that this was where they were supposed to be, you all are supposed to be. It's a beautiful thing seeing this come together. And I look forward with gratitude to having some of those bridging conversations with you.
Beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to go to Sadiq for a moment because he wants to, I think it's important for us to also know all about the elements and how the elements are going to fit into this extraordinary tapestry that we are creating. So tell us a little bit about the elements, Sadiq.
Yeah, and before I go there, I just want to thank you all. This is amazing. I was telling Trish in some of the side chat that I've been dreaming of this for quite some time, doing societal constellation work and allowing for all of these parts to talk. And this is the first time we were planning on the first time being this Saturday, but Scott, you had the wherewithal to know that it was already time and bringing in that energy, and I am just like, I'm in love with what is showing up, and more please, like, just I'm thinking of the fact that I shared this in the earlier ceremony this evening when we first launched that Jonah Martin Lyon, who is currently standing in for the realm of justice and protection after this 12-day convergence ends, he is one of 42 global wholeness clock hosts. And on 12/12, so tomorrow, we are launching on 12/12, we're launching the 555 moments of joy, but on solstice, we are launching the 222 moments of wisdom, meaning that we are going to have a show every day at 2:22 in the afternoon, where it's focused on a moment of wisdom. And Jonah is, after the event series is over, is one of our 42 hosts, and he's hosting a moment of wisdom. We have 6 different moments, and this will sort of dovetail into the conversation, that question that you asked me as far as the earth, air, fire, water. And then there's also through time, even though like in the system of ether is the 5th, but I actually moved it to where we have it's source, or like the integration point or creation point, and then the dissolution point. And we'll explain that in a moment. But basically, the 4 elements, earth, air, fire, water, are going through space. Time is the integration and the dissolution. Like, so the energy of creating those 4 elements and the energy of dissolving those 4 elements. So like a lot of what we're weaving here together is the magic of space, of time, of the elements that break out through the elements of space, the 12 sectors of society, and then asking the question of like, how do they weave together? How are they currently weaving together? What would harmony look like when we're weaving all of those pieces together? And so Jonah, just to kind of get back there, he is going to be doing this, some version of this, after this every single week. What day of the week are you going to be doing the roundtables?
Wednesday.
What, right, Wisdom Wednesday. Wisdom Wednesdays. Yeah.
We'll do one person interviewed each Wednesday with that, and then we'll have another separate show that will be what we're doing right here. Will be a roundtable show, so we'll have the consistent weaving that we're experiencing right now, which is absolutely magical.
Yeah, and so I just want to say that I'm really excited about what's happening, and I'm looking forward to this type of societal constellation work getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and maybe even becoming a thing out there, that this happens regularly to help all of our different parts and pieces interconnect. So, but as Scott was saying, there's another piece. So tonight we're seeing the stewards of our 12 realms, and starting tomorrow morning, we're having a full day of events where each of the stewards that you're seeing here tonight are going to be interviewing 2 of our realm representatives, 2 of 6, and they're going for a half hour each they're going to be asking the question, how do you bring wholeness into this realm? So there will be a sacred conversation between a steward and 2 representatives, and each of the 6 representatives were assigned one of those 4 elements. So earth, air, fire, water, the integration point, and the dissolution point. And so the whole, and how much to go into that now, I don't think is really where I would want to go. But the concept being is Earthwalk as a global organization. Our mission is to help create a global culture of peace. From our perspective, in order to do that, we have to understand time and space. That when we learn how time and space works together and how we then relate to time and space, we can then create the world of our holistic dreams. There's a formula that we use at Earthwalk as part of what we're actually gearing up through this Whole Person Summit, or excuse me, Convergence to launch, is that we believe there are 4 main aspects to the world that we created: time, space, attention, and intention. And those 4 combined create the domain of our reality. And so when we bring loving intention and attention to our time-space continuum, if you will, so like to all these sectors, to all these elements, to all these aspects that integrate, then we're able to create that global world of peace that so many prophecies have been talking about, that so many people have been talking about, that so many of us, I believe, have been yearning for. So what we're doing is we're mapping it all out so we can actually make a science of how to get to, from where we are, to that global culture piece. And we're starting with these 12 days as a simple map. And then from there, we're going to start expanding that into a full grid of the entire year, and then beyond that. So yeah, so I'm so excited to be here.
Well,
thank you so much, Sadiq. Thank you all, you beautiful humans of the realms. Like, that was the most epic constellation I've ever seen in my whole life, and I've seen a few. Wow, just the conversation between the realms was so touching, and the way that you wove the heart and the spirit and the creative force of all that is us was just, thank you for doing this. Thank you.
I also, there was one thought that I just actually wanted to add really quickly, because just on the ponderings of the constellation work, there's one steward that was not able to make it tonight. During our opening ceremony, stuff started moving for her. And so she is the representative of infrastructure and resources. And I was just finding it, very, very curious, like what in this constellation that we have right now, like what's going on with infrastructure and resource that it's not there. And you typically, if we're looking at the 12 sectors of society, the 2 that are most aligned with Earth, if you will, is, so, we have the environment here that's sort of like basically food, water, energy, but the one that's oftentimes coupled with that, so that's sort of like, if you think about it, like what we eat, what we use for energy, right? But the second part of our deep relationship with the environment is what we habitat, how we structure ourselves. So that's infrastructure and resource. And so I find it so interesting that we're homeless tonight. And what is that about?
We shall allow everyone to ponder it. Everybody else can come up with their own. I do want to, we're almost done here, but I want to just bring up again, this is the Earthwalk website. It's earthwalkunited.org. And so this is where you want to go to find out all about this incredible convergence that has just started tonight. It's going to go on, and there's so many elements to it, no pun intended. So just want to encourage everybody to go to earthwalkunited.org. And I'm going to bring my teaching partner here, Trish, on. Trish, any final thoughts you want to offer?
I do. Again, I just want to ground into all that has moved in this session, in this container, in this space, and for everyone here and everyone watching here now and in the replay, knowing that this is shifting the perspective within you, within your language, within your heart, your soul, your spirit, and it's going to ripple out, and that's the amazing thing, right? It's just rippling out. Thank you again. Thank you all for showing up and being so present and being in your hearts and your souls and in your bodies.
Yeah, thank you, each and every one of you. Such beautiful souls. Look forward to many, many collaborations as we all work together to create the new paradigm of this world. Thank you. God bless each and every one of you. Let's have a wonderful weekend. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Trish.
Thank you.